He threw in the towel a couple of days ago. I think it's Aisha Young. Metropolitan Police were recently forced to pay her $7.5 grand because they kidnapped her off the street, kept her until 4 a.m. for carrying a placard against Israeli genocide on a demonstration in London. I think the placard said Israeli apartheid. What a country! She missed the O in the word country to express her loathing and contempt for what Israel was doing. So every time we chant what a country, we can remember Aisha Young. So look guys, the tide is turning. The tide is turning. I also won a case in October in Glasgow Sheriff Court where they tried again to get a conviction for anti-Semitism, and the sheriff chucked it out, decisively disregarded the Zionist nonsense and the police lies about what happened inside Barclays here, where we protested against Israeli extermination of Palestinians. A lying police officer invented a narrative which the video showed to be untrue, and the sheriff sided with us. An illiterate sheriff last week decided to go with his ayers, and against all the evidence, and actually with no evidence in support, convicted me of anti-Semitism. I take it as a badge of honour. I've never been in a better position to fight back against these calumnies. Never been in a stronger position to fight back and win, and that's what's going to happen. We will mount a campaign, legal and political, and we will win. We'll go international to get supporters to denounce this attempt at denying free speech. By the way, I was just doing a little bit of research, going back through our stuff going back 20 odd years. I can't find the quote, I've sent it to you. But these people who accuse Scottish PSC and myself of anti-Semitism, you have to pinch yourself sometimes. We shut down every Israeli Dead Sea cosmetics store stall. They came back again, unfortunately. They came back, unfortunately, like a radish. We shut them down across Scotland in 2014 after the massacre of Protective Edge. And while the bodies were still warm in Gaza, and the vegetable fridges apparently were filled with very small bodies to preserve against the heat. We protested in Braehead, ended up in court charged with anti-Semitism. And we won. The sheriff threw the charge out. But a Glasgow solicitor called Matthew Berlow appeared as a witness for the prosecution.
We hate crooked lawyers.
He appeared as a witness for the prosecution to try to prove that we were anti-Semitic. Now, I maintained a private email communication with that character. And 2 weeks later, after he had appeared in court to try to prove I was an anti-Semite, he sent an email to say, Mick, I know that you're not an anti-Semite. I know that you're not anti-Semitic, and that you try on every occasion to oppose it. They don't believe what they're saying. This is public. This is bad faith accusations, and we act in good faith on behalf of Palestinians. Friends, we are in a position where we are opposed to genocide, mass killing, slaughter of children, slaughter of journalists, slaughter of medical workers, slaughter of children, slaughter of Palestinians. An Israeli mass killer called Ariel Sharon was quoted by Noam Chomsky. He apparently said in a cabinet meeting, the only good Arab is a dead Arab. And that was reported by Avram Berg, a colleague in the cabinet. Now that explains pretty much every Israeli behaviour. That's what they believe, that's how they act, that's what they do. And if you've got a simple theory that explains everything, you're on the money. That's what it is. They just simply kill. A friend of mine from Palestine TV, he's got me on next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. A good friend, Osama, sent me a video, a 46-second video that you've probably seen elsewhere, of a Palestinian man praying at the side of the road, and a settler rams him with a vehicle and knocks him over, attacks him with a car, drives off, and the settler gets on with his day. There is no question of a charge, no question of an... Settlers can kill, and the police will always protect them, and the army will always protect them. Israel's a murderous state, a lawless state, a bandit state, and that's what we're up against with Starmer still continuing to send weapons. I've tried your patience enough, friends. It's great to be back to see all of you. I'm inspired by all of you. In our third year of genocide, Palestinians in the third year of genocide. Let's carry on fighting, friends.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! 1, 2, 3, 4! Occupation no more! 5, 6, 7, 8! Israel is a terror state! Israel is a terror state!
For humanity. We are health worker for justice, for liberation. And we are health worker against genocide, against occupation, and health worker against barbarism. We continue to gather here as advocates of human rights and as healers. We stand shoulder to shoulder with our health worker colleagues in Palestine. Our first duty has always been and will always be to save lives. And so we must shout into every silent chamber of power, release our colleagues right now. Palestinian health workers, doctors, nurses, paramedics, who have borne witness to the unspeakable, who have operated without anesthetic and mourned their own children between shifts, who are imprisoned by the Israeli occupation. Their only crime is saving lives during genocide. We demand their freedom. Their detention is an assault on every principle of medical neutrality, is a betrayal of the oath we all share. My friend, we must speak of those who have fallen. As we are coming to the end of this year, there is over 1,580 health workers have been slaughtered by Israel. Behind each number is a family shattered, is a dream extinguished, a child left without a parent left without their children. Behind each life lost is not just a tragedy, but a crime committed by the terrorist state of Israel, and fully supported politically, militarily, and financially by the UK government. But yet, even from beneath the rubbles, life and resolve emerge again in Gaza. Just a few days ago, my friends, in the heart of the ruin and the carnage in Gaza City, we witnessed one of the greatest acts of resistance. Not with weapons, but with certificates. 170 new doctors graduated in Gaza. 170 new doctors graduated in Gaza. They earned their credential from the Ministry of Health in a ceremony held in the garden of the devastated Al-Shifa hospital. Palestinians gathered among these ruins, celebrating these graduates, while the scars of Israeli attacks surround them in every corner. This is the unbreakable spirit that Israel is trying to bomb into submission. They bomb a hospital, and Gaza build a medical school in the ashes. They kill our colleagues, and 170 more step forward to take their responsibility to rebuild Gaza and Palestine. This act of defiant hope is the clearest indictment of the crime the world is witnessing. And let us name this crime. It is the genocide. World experts in international law have declared it. The United Nations highest body have warned of it. And the Scottish government, with a little bit of moral courage, acknowledged it, but did not act on it. The evidence is not hidden. It is written in the mass graves at the hospitals, in the targeted destruction of all healthcare worker facilities, in the calculated starvation of the population, and in the killing of our colleagues, the 1,580 healers. So we must ask, why does the UK government deny what the world sees? The answer is simple, my friends, and is damning at the same time. Because they are complicit in these crimes. So to acknowledge the genocide is simply to indict themselves. They are partners in this crime, arming it, funding it, providing diplomatic cover. Their denial is clearly not based on facts, but based on fear of the legal and historic judgment that will inevitably come. So we say, your denial will crumble under the weight of the undeniable. My friend, this policy of trying to silence our colleagues in Gaza extends beyond Gaza's borders. If we look around us in the UK health workers are also in fact under attack. Colleagues, consultants, GPs, even medical students facing investigations, legal threats, and professional attacks for speaking the truth, for saying ceasefire, for acknowledging the genocide, for acknowledging the genocide. Thank you very much for your generosity. For upholding the very medical ethics that demand we speak of the wounds we see. They want to frighten us into complicity, but we are health workers, we are healers. We diagnose and we treat the problems. We actually treat the root cause of the problem, that is the occupation and the injustice. This is like cancer, which will affect all of us if we do not take an action. We will not be silent about this cancer of conscience invading our own institutions here in the UK. As been mentioned earlier, we have to also mention again the bravest among us here in the UK are the prisoners for Palestine, the hunger strikers. These are the prisoners of conscience, jailed with no charge, not been tried, not been convicted, and their demands are only basic human rights. Shame! Shame! The right to protest injustice. Have they killed anyone? Have they harmed anyone? Clearly no. They are incarcerated for their conscience, for trying to stop the genocide. While at the same time, there are criminals who are allowed to walk on these streets. The ones who have killed 20,000 children with a signature on an armed contract. The ones who provided bombs that shred families. They are protected, and while our government refuses full and meaningful sanctions, it jails the protesters, protects the armed dealers. This is the moral inversion that unfortunately we live under. But the government and its complicit institutions, including our medical and health institutions, are actually scared of what we are doing. So they were on the news recently, some of you might have heard, that Barclays Bank management is asking the Scottish government to suppress our protest and our speech.
Shame on Barclays!
Shame on Barclays! So think about that, and think about the power that we have. Our solidarity, our voice, our peaceful presence here today is no doubt shaking the boardrooms of the genocide profiteers behind us, and it terrifies them. So I say to the government in Edinburgh and also in London, protest is our human right. It is the heartbeat of democracy that you claim to uphold. We will not stop. We will not let this, we will not be silent, and we will grow louder. We will meet your intimidation with our determination. We are health workers for Palestine. We have seen the x-rays of the broken bones and the scans of the shattered families and futures. We know the anatomy of occupation and the oppression, and we prescribe the only cure, which is unwavering resistance, unbreakable solidarity, and unrelenting demand for justice.
Yes!
So let us end this year, my friends, with a promise, a declaration that echoes from the river to the sea, from the hospitals of Gaza to the streets of Glasgow. And we say, while they have the weapons, we have the truth. While they have the prisons, we have the people. They have the power of the states, but we have the power of the conscience. And until every prisoner is free, and until every bomb stops falling, until Palestine is free, we will not rest, and we will not be silent. We will not stop fighting. Our solidarity is the strongest medicine we have, and we will use it. Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
my friends, I have just a little note, an announcement. We have here on our stall a new book that has been released. It's a book from Gaza, written by Gaza, written by a friend and a colleague from Gaza. It's called Beneath the Gaza Sky by Shadi Salim. This is Gaza from inside. It's a collection of stories, not statistics.
The people that support the Palestinians and their right to liberation and an end to having to wear filthy Zionism in their skin. Their whole life is spent being patrolled, being surveyed, being punished, being fed lies, and not actually half as much as the Zionist children that have grown up in America, who are finding that they need to turn their back on this filthy, deceitful movement. A year ago, the Jewish Voice for Peace organised the largest ever protest of American Jews to end supplying arms to Israel, the arms that Barclays fund. Hey Barclays, how many kids have you killed today? Since 2002, 6 massacres have taken place in Gaza alone. Each one made profits at the arms fairs from the battle-tested arms. The sickness is beyond comprehension. Barclays will always be at the top of the list of investors for arms that kill innocent people, and for fossil fuels. They're number 1 in Europe for investing in fossil fuels. There is no conscience in the capitalist system. From 1937 to 1948, 12 massacres were carried out by the terrorist gangs of the Zionist militia. I find it quite puzzling, actually, the names we've got for groups that we hear in the news this at this point in time. We hear about resistance, we hear about militants, we hear about rebels. There's all sorts of names for people seeking their liberation. However, the Zionist militia carried on from when they started to enter Palestine in the mid-1800s. Menachem Begin was one of their worst, one of their most vile and one of their hardest, most brutal leaders. From 1977 to 1983, he had been the leader of the Organ terrorist gang. The Organ terrorist gang, which was a revisionist breakaway from the Haganah, and he became the first leader representing Likud, which is what is ruling Israel now, the Likud party, full of messianic lunatics. We can't forget that the Zionists aimed to go to Palestine because they were fleeing from European persecution under the name of anti-Semitism, which is deep, deep racism. He studied in Poland, where he met the most vicious anti-Semitic behaviour, and he dedicated his life to fight against anti-Semitism. A revisionist Zionist led him, Jabotinsky, and like Zionism they've always abhorred the socialist ideology, especially the socialist ideology of Jewish people. At the time of the Second World War, only 2% of German Jews supported Zionism. 2%! However, we do have evidence now that the Zionists collaborated with the Nazis, and there were very, very few socialist Jews left in Europe after the Second World War. From then on, the drip feeding continued about the Holocaust, about the fact that the Holocaust only affected Jewish people. It didn't just affect Jewish people, but Hitler made a beeline for the Jewish people amongst many other communities and subjected them to the most horrific and mechanized death camps. However, what we see in Gaza and throughout Palestine is a calculated cruelty, unparalleled anywhere in this world. The systematic eradication of Gaza has been a planned event. It didn't happen because of October the 7th, 2023, but it was certainly well orchestrated from the minute the break for freedom that Hamas made out of Gaza started. There's evidence and there's footage of the Apache helicopters having caused hundreds of deaths in the kibbutz, all instructed by the Israeli army under, what law is it again? The Hannibal Directive?
Hannibal Directive.
The Hannibal Directive. I forget all the terminology. It's all set up to confuse us. So the creation and defence of the Jewish state was, in Begin's view, justified by any means. But the people who committed anti-Semitism were not the Palestinians. The people who brutalised the Jewish people in Europe were not the Palestinians. The Palestinians lived in Palestine for thousands of years before any European Zionist set foot in their land. And prior to being heralded as a Prime Minister for the freak state, the British government had a sizable bounty in its head for the massacre of British UK government that were in the Camp David Hotel. The first time children were used as human shields, the Zionists sent children with bombs in their bags to the Camp David Hotel. And isn't it interesting that at this point we turn full circle? We have another person person put in power in Syria, who was one of the heads of ISIS, and now he's a friend of America. So the tables turn, the butchery continues, and nobody seems to bat a fucking eyelid. And people like the Friends of Israel here who stand up in court and say they're scared of us, they're scared of peaceful protesters. Well, I don't see any evidence of that, and I'm shocked that it was believed. He stalks us every week. We're peaceful protesters. We don't hurt anyone. We don't put phones in anybody's face. We don't stalk people. We're not creepy. We're actually good humans. People of conscience. Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
So Menachem Begin died, how sad, in 1992, and it's recorded that he died a broken man, tortured by feelings of guilt and remorse. Have we got anything to look forward to, I wonder? The other people that endorse this messianic lunacy that is going on in Palestine. The Zionist movement did not start as a religious movement. It had nothing to do with Judaism. It was a political structure. It was a political movement. And the Balfour Declaration is evidence of that. They had to get the support of the UK government to say, oh great, what did the UK government say? We will have our own little Ulster in Palestine. Another group of heartless, merciless freaks. And they continue to this day. The British still support the Zionist movement in their endeavours to take the Palestinians away from their land. The list of massacres from 1937 to the present day are horrific, and they're unrelenting. We have the monument at the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery for the Deir Yassin massacre, which was a most terrifying experience for a village of people who had done nothing to anybody. They were being ripped apart, they were being torn, they were being chased, they were being shot, they were being stabbed. And it's only got more brutal as the technology has improved in the arms industry, which actually all seems to centre around how the arms perform in Palestine towards the Palestinians that keeps the arms industry growing. Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free! I'm gonna get to the guilty game!
Barclays Bank, you can't hide!
Because I'm fucking genocide!
Barclays Bank, you can't hide!
Because I'm fucking
Because your
genocide!
profits are covered!
In Palestinian blood!
Your profits are covered!
In Palestinian blood!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Viva, viva!
Palestina!
Viva, viva!
Palestina!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the sea to the river!
Palestine will live forever!
Hey, Barclays, what do you say?
How many kids did you kill today?
Hey, Barclays, what do you say?
How many kids did you kill today?
Barclays Bank, you can hide! Barclays Bank, you can hide!
Because I'm fucking genocide!
Because your profits are covered!
In Palestinian blood!
Your profits are covered!
In Palestinian blood!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Viva, viva! Viva, viva! From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the sea to the river!
Palestine will live forever!
Hey, Barclays, what do you say?
How many kids did you kill today?
Hey, Barclays, what do you say?
How many kids did you kill today?
Barclays Bank, you can hide!
Because I'm fucking genocide!
Barclays Bank, you can hide!
Because I'm fucking genocide!
Free, free!
Palestine!
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 Hey, Barclays, what do you say?
How many kids did you kill today?
Hey, do you say? Hey, Barclays, what do you say? Hey, Barclays, what do you say? Free, 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 free. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12. Israel can go to hell. Free, 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 free. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is off. 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 Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. Viva, viva. Viva, viva. Free, free. Free, free. Israel is off. 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 Israel